Hey guys, we're back with another video, and this week's video is going to be on the Snickerdoodle. Remember that board I unboxed a long time ago, and sadly I haven't done a video on, or in fact a review. So I wanted to apologise firstly to Ryan L. Cousins, who sent me this device to review, and secondly to the community, as I have not done anything with this. Partially because it's not noob friendly. Obviously it doesn't output to a screen as of yet, and that's mainly, in fact, the most part as to why I haven't used it. Secondly, I've been busy, as you guys know. So today we're going to take a look at how we set up the Wi-Fi on this thing with the current Ubuntu with ROS Kinetic software, and then we'll show you a little bit of what I've done to it personally. So first things first, you're going to want to plug her in. Once you've got that Ubuntu wrote to the SD card, the micro SD, which is there. Once you've got that loaded on, you're going to want to plug her in. And when you plug her in, you will see some sort of lights to notify you that the board is booting. And I noticed that on a couple of other videos, it doesn't really show you exactly how to do this, and it doesn't actually show you its true form, so to speak. So once you plug it in, you'll see a little green light comes up and it'll start blinking, and it'll blink for a little bit, and then sometimes it goes back to completely solid once it's stopped doing stuff. That is the only notification you will see. If you see it completely solid to start with and nothing happens, then you've wrote the software wrong. But the idea is you want to watch it blink so that you can tell that it's loading, much like a hard drive light, and then that's it. You know that it's loaded up on here. Now this does have, I believe, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I have not tested out the Bluetooth yet, but I have tried the Wi-Fi, and that was a bitch to set up. So what we're going to do is show you how to do that, and hopefully you'll sort of get it. So once we've done that, and obviously there is a preparation involved to get this installed, you have to install the Snickerdoodle driver onto your computer before you can even Terraterm into it. I have tried with Putty, but this hasn't worked. So I did a bit with Terraterm, and usually we click on the actual serial console bit there. So as you can see, invalid host. I probably put those settings in wrong, but essentially what you're going to want to do is plug it in before you start it up, boot this up, and then click onto serial, and it will come up with that driver that you have to install. So before you do anything, you want to install this ST micro electronics virtual COM port driver before you can even do anything with the Snickerdoodle. Once we've done that, we just press OK, and it should boot us in. Now if you don't see anything come up on screen first off, which sometimes this happens, especially after the first boot, you simply press enter, and then it will ask you to log in. Now the login name is always Snickerdoodle, and not caps lock, by the way, lowercase, like so, and then we simply would like to press enter, and then it'll ask you for your password. Now things first is when you boot this up, it will ask you to change your password. The default password is Snickerdoodle, also in lowercase, but for now we're going to do my password, so be right back. Right, so once the password has been put in, then we just press enter, and as you can see, it will log us in to the Snickerdoodle itself, and we can go from here and do whatever we want. So to set the Wi-Fi, or even get the Wi-Fi running, you're going to want to go into a particular folder and put in some code, and I will show you that now. So yeah, just follow along. I just realized that the screen wasn't very big, so I've resized now, and obviously once you resize the screen, the Snickerdoodle portion goes away, but it is still on and it is still running. So what we're going to want to do is go into this folder, and to do that, before I do this, I want to say thanks for Ryan Cousins again for actually showing me how to do this, or typing it to me, as all the actual documentation for the Snickerdoodle is completely out of date, along with the tutorials on the forums. They're a little bit out of date. Some bits work, some bits don't, and this is a big problem, especially for people like me who just want to check out what this device can do and what it has available. Like I say, not so noob friendly, but we're going to want to type in this command, and I'm going to paste it here, and then you can hopefully see what the command is. So much like the chip, it starts with the sudo nano. Let me try and zoom in on that actually for you, just so you guys can actually see. And I apologise for the camera, the bad sort of, yeah, you see my camera's a little bit on the crap side, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Right, so basically you're going to want to type in this. It's sudo nano / etc / WPA _supplicant.config, and that is basically what you're going to want to type in to get to this file. Like I say, none of the documentation states this, that is freely available on the website as official documentation. So once we put in this, we will get to a screen like this. It will ask you for your password, obviously, because you're doing it as super user. So put in the password and then press enter. Once you've pressed enter, you will likely come into a little folder like this. Please note you do have to use the sudo command, otherwise you won't be able to save any changes. There will be more writing than this in your folder, but this writing is potentially irrelevant, and I'll show you why in a moment. Some of it, in fact a tiny portion of it, is actually used. The rest you have to write over the top of, and I'll show you what it looks like. So basically, if you've got a WPA-PSK hub, I believe, or WPA2 password protected hub, this is the way you would word it. And I'm going to try and zoom in again and show you guys. Again, thanks to Ryan Cousins for actually showing me this, because I had some things missing. So basically, the camera, man, it just won't stay still. Basically, this is what you're going to want to input, and you can see where I put PSK equals 123456789 This is where you put your actual password for your router in between those quotation marks, and again with SSID inside the quotation marks, and you do need those quotation marks, you put in your SSID. So let's say you have a BT hub and it's BT underscore HJZWB or whatever your SSID for your hub is. In fact, let me just show you what that is. In fact, no, I can't. Basically, if you click on your Wi-Fi, because this camera is, I'm gonna have to like completely change everything on this camera to be able to move it that way. If you click on your Wi-Fi on your laptop, if you're using a laptop or a PC, you click on that Wi-Fi icon in the bottom right corner. It'll show you what the name is of your SSID that you're connected to. So it'll either be like I say, BT is like usually BT something underscore JW or whatever it is. I think if you're with like some cheaper brands like PlusNet, it will be like PlusNet underscore something. But basically that goes in your SSID between the speech marks, or quotation marks should I say, and everything else is typed exactly the same as I type it here. And then you're basically, excuse me, good to go. Once you've done that, and again, I apologize for the camera, but once you've done that, and my camera actually decides to focus a little bit, once you've done that, you can simply press Ctrl X, and it will ask you if you want to save, like so. Do you want to overwrite the changes? Because you've obviously deleted everything and rewrote everything, you want to just click Y, but in this instance I'll click no, and that'll take me back to this page, or back to the command line where it says Snickerdoodle. From there you're going to want to type in IW WLAN 0 and then up, I think, if config. We're learning this together. WLAN 0 up. And if it says operation not permitted, which it probably will do, you just want to type in sudo WLAN 0 up. And for you, it might do something different, but as all my setup, it comes up with this big long thing. If it doesn't, don't worry. You just simply type in, I think it's IW WLAN 0 and then link for me. Okay. Sudo. I gotta remember these commands. Ifconfig wlan 0 link. Nope. Is it just wlan 0 link? Nope. And obviously I am completely in the way, so I've blurred out the screen anyway. So basically it's wlan 0 link, and then it should link, and you should get a little bit of a screen comment like this, which will tell you how many packets are there and how many packets are lost. And that is basically your Wi-Fi setup. Now each time you reboot the Snickerdoodle, you will have to put in the same command, wlan 0 link. Obviously you won't have to do all the rest because that's saved on the Snickerdoodle on the SD card, but you do have to link it to the internet every single time. I think there may be a way that we can do this on boot, but I'll have to research that and get back to you in another video. So next thing is I'm going to show you what I've been doing with the Snickerdoodle myself, and what I've done so far. I've had a little play around with it, and I've actually set up a media server and almost like a desktop environment. And this is a little tricky in the sense that obviously you're going to need your computer to log in and show the desktop. At the minute that's what I'm using, because I'm not entirely sure how or what pins can be used in order to drive some video to a HDMI out. But then again, that doesn't solve another issue, which would be, even if we did have HDMI out, we do need a USB slot for our wireless keyboard and mouse. So yeah, it's not as easy as it sounds, but there is hope with the PySmasher single board computer add-on, which adds those features in fact, and also a wired connection, which is pretty damn nice. Obviously my Snickerdoodle is the baseboard up version, and you can tell that by the way your pins are located. If they're pointing up and your chip is on top with your buttons on top, then you've got the up version. Otherwise the pins will be pointing down, and then you've got the down version, and the down version is actually compatible with the PySmasher. The up version currently isn't. Potentially, if you add a load of wires to where the pins are and connect them to the PySmasher in the same way as you would the Snickerdoodle down, just slotting in, you could get the same effect. So that is something that I'm willing to look into and possibly purchase down the road, just so that we can check out what that actually adds in terms of extra or even less lag when it comes to remote logging in, and extra performance, because I'm not sure if it will add extra performance. We'll see. So what you're going to want to do once you've set this media server and obviously a desktop environment up, which I can show you if you want me to, let me know in the comment section below, I can walk you through that as well. But what you're going to want to do is start up that media server. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to set it all up and show you what it looks like. So what I've actually found that works, and this is something called XDRP and XFCE. And what I've found works is we simply have to restart that media server by typing in sudo service XDRP and then restart, like so, and that should restart it. To actually access this, if you're on a Windows PC, if you go into here, into the search bar, and you just type in hang on a second guys. Yeah, basically they have a special app that does this, and it's called MSTSC and it's remote desktop connection there. And obviously to find out your Snickerdoodle IP, you're going to want to type in hostname and then a minus, a space, then a minus and a capital I, and then press enter, and that'll give you your IP address of your Snickerdoodle. Once you've got that, you just paste that in here, and then press connect. And it'll come up with Windows does not recognize the name specified, so we just press OK. And it'll enter the remote connection. Now, obviously your password will be changed now, but you use the same username, which is Snickerdoodle, and then your password, which mine is whatever that is, and then we just press OK, and it'll log us in to a desktop environment. Obviously we have to set this up like I mentioned before, and I can show you guys how to do this, but once it's done, it'll load up a nice little desktop here for you, and this is where you can mess around like you would on the chip or the pocket chip. First things first is the web browser on here doesn't automatically work out the box. You're best off installing an external web browser like Firefox, and once you get that, you can actually load up a web browser, and I'll show you how quick stuff loads. Bear in mind this is an ARM Cortex A9, and I don't think it has any. It's a Zinc 7000 chip, which is a system on chip. But with regards to actually, it's hard to say. I'm not sure if it has much in the way of a graphics processing unit or a GPU. I'm honestly not sure on this, just because I've tried a couple of games like Open Arena, and they do not work, or they do work, but they don't work at a fast enough frame rate to be able to be used. And this could be just because you're remote logging in as opposed to having it as a straight feed. This could because there isn't actually any integrated GPU, which makes everything you can see on here done solely on the processor. So this limits the ability to do much at all at the moment. Now there is a possibility that some little magic config can be done to make use of the processing power, and there is of course the possibility I could wire this up to the chip and talk to the chip in some way or other to boost that performance there, because we know the chip has a Mali 450, I think, or a Mali, yeah, I think it's a Mali 450. So you can see here that Firefox took a bit to load up, and if we load up a page, we can then see how quickly it processes. It's actually pretty rapid compared to other devices. It's pretty quick, I must say. We can go onto YouTube. And then we can search WMG. Which is obviously myself. And then you'll see that someone else has kindly named themselves WMG as well, which sort of sucks, but I think that's because that's... Yes, there's also WMG is in Warner Media Group too. So it loads pretty fast, and it's pretty impressive when it comes to browsing the internet, but when it gets down to playing video, it struggles a lot. And you'll see in a moment. Obviously, if you're not subscribed, you will see this channel video here. It takes a while to load the video, and then it takes, well, it doesn't exactly render video too well. At least not what I tried yesterday. But you can see it's doing the buffering. And you can see that it's 35 seconds long. Which is odd. So if I pause it and then play it, it should in theory play. The one I was watching last night did play, but it didn't play well enough to be able to be used, and this seems to be what's happening here. Let's try a different video. because now it's not playing anything at all. Shut up. Enough. 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 I apologise if you're just sitting around waiting for nothing to happen. And here we go, you can see it's loading it, but frame by frame. Usually it'll just drop in a frame here and there, and it's just completely unusable, which is odd because it does buffer the video and it should potentially play the video, but clearly it's not. And that could be because something is missing somewhere in the files, like certain libraries, but at the moment it won't actually play video smoothly. And this is something I'm going to look into over the coming days as to why it isn't running smoothly. Another thing that I've noticed as well is closing down can be a little slow. This could be due to internet connectivity potentially, but also if you install games like Freedom, which we do have on the Pocket chip, we'll get failed to execute command because no such file or directory. Again, with a game that should potentially run Alex 4, we get failed to execute command because child process Alex 4, no such file or directory. Which is odd because I've installed them through the terminal in the same way I would on the chip, the Pocket chip, or even the Orange Pi for that matter, but nothing. Open Arena does work, but then it won't close down and it's so slow, it just chugs. So it's unplayable. It boots, but it's unplayable, so it doesn't work, but you know what I mean. I'm going to try more stuff out, possibly some stuff that isn't so intensive on the processor, and see where I can go, and possibly install some libraries that we may need to get this running. But for now, it's pretty much a web browsing and development type board, which is what it is sold as, ironically, as a development type board. So yeah, Mozilla Crash Reporter. Potentially all this is possible, but not quite yet. So that's what I've done with the Snickerdoodle so far, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit long-winded and a little bit slow towards the end, but that's what I've done with the Snickerdoodle so far, and there's definitely more to come in terms of me experimenting, trying different things, possibly trying to hook it up to some other devices to try and get them to talk, and go from there. But like I say, the documentation with this does seem a little bit out of date, and I'm wondering how out of date that is in other areas, if it is that out of date with how the Wi-Fi works. And if that's the case, this does need updating and putting up in a place where people will get to see it rather than going through GitHub and finding it that way, because that can be a little bit awkward. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button, and as always guys, I shall see you very soon with another one. Thanks again for watching. Cheers.